the hardest man to keep, or the hardest man to attract, or to, what's the word I'm looking for? The hardest man to use your magic charms on. To make, him look, to make him feel something magical and special, is the guy that you see every day. Yeah! The guy you see every day, the one who smells your breath in the morning, the one who knows when you're in a bad mood, and who deals with your attitude, who deals with all of the things about you that you don't want the world to see. Yeah, that guy right there. Yeah! He's not razzled and dazzled by your, because I think sometimes, and as women, and I watched, I am a consumer of some of the content on the internet, and there are a lot of people there, when a couple break up and the woman is attractive, people always think, oh my God, how could he fumble her? She's so gorgeous, she's so perfect, she's so beautiful. As if the only quality a woman needs is to be attractive in order to maintain a healthy relationship. I think that if you look at Halle Berry, or all these women are gorgeous, Beyonce, a lot of women have had men who have not, it wasn't enough that they were in shape and that they were attractive to make him not look at or look at other women or be attracted to other women. Now I'm only saying this to say that the person who has kissed you 1,000 times, who has loved you 1,000 times, I think that relationship requires a different level of magic. Yeah! Than just that cute dress to make your, make your butt look good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think as a woman who loves makeup, I love makeup, y'all. I love a good glamour spell. Did I ever tell you guys what my favorite glamour spell is? I think whenever I talk about it, it gets, for some reason, YouTube doesn't like it, but it's not a big deal. So I'm not going to talk about it. But I've talked about it before, and it says something like, I don't know. It's very simple, though. Long story short, I love a good glamour spell. I do, guys. I love it. I'm a girl. I think all women, any woman who, you fix your hair, you put on your makeup, you dress up, that's a spell, child. Just because you didn't say abracadabra, or just because you didn't, you know what I mean? But glamour to me is so easy to pull off to people who don't know you. The people who, the guy at work who can't wait to smell your perfume, or the people who just, when you walk in the grocery store and they're just like, you know what I'm saying? Those are the easiest people to keep to appear alluring, to look, delectable. Yeah! Because they don't have to see you when you get home and take that wig off and pull those lashes off, and you know what I mean? Like, they don't get to see the real you. And I think that sometimes the person you are, daily, how loving you are, how affectionate you are, how kind you are, we don't know how people are. But sometimes I think in relationships, especially as women, we think that looking good is enough to keep a healthy and whole relationship. But I think it takes way more than that. What comes to mind to me is what I can't stop thinking about is in the movie Love and Basketball. Is one of my all-time favorite movies. Love and Basketball, Shawshank Redemption. I think maybe The Devil Wears Prada is somewhere in the list. But I think Shawshank Redemption is like number one for me. Oh, and maybe a few good men. Okay, let me stop. In Love and Basketball, there is a scene where, you know, they kind of broke up, and she said you cheated on me, and he said you forgot to be there. He said you forgot to be there. She said, well, I had to, you know, play basketball. That if I didn't, what did she say? If I didn't make curfew, then I wouldn't be able to suit up, and I wouldn't have been able to win. But he was going through a really tough time. I guess when I think about, I think all relationships are difficult, and nobody knows what goes on, when no one's looking. And I don't think it's none of our business. But I'll tell you this, keeping the man interested who has seen it all, who has seen it all 1,000 times. Now that's some work. Now that right there, that's some magic for you. That magic right there. That's the magic that we need to work on. Because to appear glamorous and attractive and appealing, and that's, to me, that's the easy magic. That's that glamour. Oh, that is for the bird. That is for, you don't need a special skill to make the crowd say, oh my God, girl, you look so cute. I remember one day I did like this. I made my little beauty sigil, and I used to give it to my customers when with my little Empress Goddess jewelry. And I was in the grocery store, and there was a white woman who looked like a librarian, and I knew this was a good sigil. She said I just want you to know that I'm straight. She said, and she said, what did she said? Something like, she said, I'm straight, but you make me want to jump size just so I could be with you because you're so beautiful, or some stuff like that. Something along the lines like, she said, I'm a straight woman, and I would change, And she said, I just really want you to know you look nice. It was this sigil that I made. And see, you know what I'm saying? Beauty magic. And I think what it is like, I don't know what it is about beauty magic, but about glamour magic and hair and makeup, and and just carrying yourself in a way that make people just look at you. And I mean, I think most women know how to turn that charm on. But that guy, the guy who's kissed you 1,000 times, I always teach this. I teach this to people. First of all, yes. Yeah! I know somebody saying, well, listen, that's a whole nother story. We're not going to get into my personal business. But I'm going to tell you this. I would tell people all the time who are addicted to the compliments that they get on social media and Facebook, and especially young girls. I say, none of those people who are telling you, who are liking your pictures and telling you how attractive, they're not going to bring you a cup of soup when you are sick with an afro. Yeah! And you are, and you haven't showered in a couple of days. They're not interested. Okay? Like, please keep it in your mind that these people who are like telling you how amazing you are and how beautiful you are, and these pose pictures where you're sucking everything in and making sure that they don't care. They don't love you. They do not love you. But the person who see you every day, who you share food with, the one who would do anything to protect you, to love you, I feel like I'm still working on that magic. I'm still trying to figure that one out. I know. I think that's, I think, how do I say this? As a woman, I love, like I said, I love a good glamour spell, and I love makeup, and I love hair, and I love wigs. But I also know that the intimacy and the honesty and the vulnerability and the trust that is required to have, real, glamour is one thing, but real love is a whole nother thing. And I want to share this story. I had a friend. I would never forget this. I would never forget this story as long as I live. And I feel like even if this person was my friend just to tell me this story, it was just worth it, right? So we were talking about, cheating, in relationships. And I'm one of those people like, no, no. If you're cheating on me and I know it, well, I can't. No. You know what I mean? Like, I want my person to myself. So, and it means something to me. And so he was saying that it didn't, like, that type of thing didn't mean anything to him. He said, because first of all, he said, when you meet a person, both people have already been intimate with other people. So you're not sharing a part of yourself that you haven't shared with another person before. This is his philosophy. Now, I don't agree with it, but something he did say that I thought was powerful. He said, I feel that that true love is loyalty. And I'm with him on that. Loyalty, but to me, loyalty is not cheating. But anyway, he said, the way he looked at intimacy and loyalty and love in a relationship is, he said, if say, for example, like, how sometimes police officers will question like people separately to try to, get you to tattle on your partner, like say there's something happened, right? He said he knows that, because he used to be a police officer too. He said he want a person where if the police came to him and say, your partner said that this happened, just to, he said he would know that person didn't say that person would never tell. He said that's true love to him, and that's true intimacy. He said true intimacy and true love is way beyond physicality. It's a trust and a loyalty whereby there is nothing and no one could ever come between you and your person. Definitely not other people, and not because what you share is so powerful that it is beyond like it, you know what I'm saying, guys? Like I feel like that was pretty deep. Like he said, nobody could ever come to him and tell him that, yeah, your partner turned you in or they turned against you. He said, like, knowing that a person have your back and that your secrets are safe with them, and what you tell them is sacred. He feels that is more glamorous and more attractive than any physical trait. So anyway, I know that a lot of people are talking about, like, some of the couples on the internet who are having some problems. It's none of our business. We all go through stuff, right? But all I know is the man who has made love to you 1,000 times, who has kissed you over and over and over again, that is the man to impress. That is the man that I feel like who deserves not a binding spell. Because I hear a lot of women talk about binding somebody. Not a binding spell. I just think sometimes it's when I look at how we you know, I look at how we treat men. Let me just say this, and then I don't know if I want to publish a video or not, but I just want to, this is one of those times where I just want to like just be honest. Well, I'm always honest, and that's the problem, right? Before I went to school, to Henry Ford Community College, I had never heard of the term patriarchy or patriarchal system. Like, I didn't know what that was. And I remember when I took my first class on feminism, and they were talking about like these men who were in charge and who were oppressing women. And I was like, what? You mean my father never called into work? Not one time. I think when he was in the hospital, I don't remember how that happened, but my father never called in for a cold, for a sniffle. My father was never late to work. My father signed over his paycheck to my mom. Every Friday, he left it on the dining room table. And my mother, you know, she cooked dinner, she washed, and my mother worked as well. And I kind of, you know, like I said, my parents were together until my father took his last breath. They were married 28 years. So I grew up in a traditional home, but I didn't know that my father, that was a problem until I went away to college. And then college is like, you know, we were talking about the patriarchal system and men in power and men, you know, they're oppressing women and women can't have credit. And I get, you know, how, I don't know, but I kind of feel that women have always been very powerful and they've always had a certain control over men. But I do understand, you know, having, you know, needing to have your own credit, being able to buy your own home, and the whole, you know, I'm quite sure the women's movement and all that was necessary. But I feel that we've gone overboard to a degree where I don't know, I feel, let me just say it. Like, we don't feel like we need men anymore. That they're not important. That that masculinity is a bad thing. So everybody want to be feminine or act like women, or like sometimes I don't know. Like, it just seems to me like we have stopped appreciating masculine energy. And like when women went through a stage of like, oh, I can open the door for myself and I don't need anybody. I'm a strong, independent woman. I don't know. I think, you know, and people are saying, oh, you know, because women, you know, you can make money, but I'm telling you, money doesn't, I don't think, yeah, I do want money. I do. I need money. You need money to live. But I still want kisses, you know, I still want love, right? I still want somebody who, you know what I mean? It's more than just, I think that men and women have gotten to a point in a society where, because we don't need each other anymore, in a practical way, like we, you know, he can go and he can get buy DoorDash, and he can use a laundry service or get a maid, and she can, you know, hire somebody to do the yard. But I still think because we no longer need each other in a practical way, we haven't figured out how much we truly need each other in a way that is way more important and much deeper than, you know, just money and, you know, daily living, survival activities. I think men and women need to figure out how to truly love each other again. I don't know if I want to say again, maybe for the first time. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what's missing in relationships. And I don't think it's, just because somebody is on the internet or somebody. No, I think that sometimes I think the way, the way we talk to each other, the way we communicate, and I don't know, to be vulnerable, to laugh together, to be friends, I think that being with your partner and really, spending quality time together, and I don't know. I don't know, guys. Look, I don't know. I don't have all the answers. But I do know one thing. The hardest person to impress, the hardest person to keep, not just for women, is the person that you see every day. And I think a lot of times that is a person people take for granted. I really do. I think, like using the bathroom and leaving the door open. Oh, we don't have to, we're married. Maybe that's how your marriage works. But I think sometimes losing a little bit of the mystique, a little bit of the allure, a little, like, maybe, not wearing, attractive things, or not doing things to let that person know that you're keeping the romance alive in the relationship. But anyway, guys, I really hope this video inspires someone to maybe look and see that the easiest people to find you attractive are the people who don't know you. The person that you really want to keep interested is the person who see you every day, by saying thank you and gratitude and doing favors, and just totally engaging, being vulnerable, having real deep and meaningful conversations. That's the real magic. Thank you so much for watching.